How's it going, everybody? I'm Lewis and we've got a new update from the old school RuneScape team. This is Dragon Spear changes and final beta. The final version of Last Man Standing is very close to being released, and this weekend they're going to be running a third and final beta. As well as that, they've got plenty of quality of life updates from Content Poll 45, as well as a balancing change to the Dragon Spear special attack. So let's get straight into the Dragon Spear changes. These changes apply to the Dragon Spear, Zamorakian Spear, and Zamorakian Hasta, to address some problems that these weapons have had with multiple people attacking a single target. Previously, if multiple people used these special attacks on a single target, the stun effect would stack up and could potentially last for minutes, depending on how many people actually used it on the target. This would cause all kinds of problems with the way that damage was dealt, how prayer points were drained, and what happens once a player died. There's been plenty of instances where players have been attacked with this special attack, they've been stuck there, and because of the way the special attack works, they couldn't die despite the fact they had 0 health, and therefore, whilst they kept their prayer up so they would be able to protect items and protect from damage, they would end up losing their prayer points, meaning they couldn't even use things like protect item. And when they died, it was just horrible to sort out. This update is sorting this out. You will no longer be able to use the special attack on a target who's already stunned. In addition to this, if you've been stunned, you're given a 1-tick period of immunity after a stun wears off, so you can't be stunned straight away. This means it's possible to sneak in a few actions whilst you're stunned. So you can eat food, drink a potion, teleport, put on an item, whatever is required to help you. Although be careful, because it is such a small period of time. This should definitely help a lot of people in multi-PKing situations. I know clans tend to stack people with these spears, and it is a pain if you're in that situation. I think the worst part is the fact that you can pretty much lose your prayer points, and therefore you can't do protect from item, and then you're going to absolutely lose every single item you're wearing if you're schooled, and obviously all but 3 if you're not schooled. And if you're in a PvP situation like this, there's a good chance you are schooled. Hopefully this will really address a lot of balancing issues people have had with these spears. I think that this is a good change. I'm kind of disgruntled that they haven't had a poll or anything for that, especially for the fact that they did poll changes to the Dragon Spear a long time ago, however they didn't pass. So obviously they thought it was something worth polling, but then they changed their opinion. Either way, I hope that this addresses a lot of issues people had with this, and I hope it makes PKing in the multi-areas and just going into the deep wilderness where there are multi-areas much more pleasant. You don't have to worry about a big clan coming to own you where you've got no options available to help you. Let's move on to the Last Man Standing final beta. The most recent Last Man Standing beta had so many improvements to the original. And, like a good beta, hundreds of people participated and they got a lot of feedback from that. To get final bits of feedback, they will be running a third and final beta this weekend, and there are some substantial changes based on the feedback they received. One of the biggest changes they've done is completely revamp the potential loot you can get from loot chests. They've upgraded lots of the weapons you can receive, and they've made it more likely that you're going to end up with higher tier equipment. Hopefully making it a lot more exciting, because if you get yourself a dragon scimitar, you're going to be much happier than if you get a bronze one, even if everybody else has the same tier. To go along with the change, they've also updated the vending shrines to give a larger variety of equipment. As we can see here, alongside the food and potions they added last week, there's also weapons and armour. These should make it a lot easier to actually equip yourself to fight. As well as that, they've lowered everybody's defense in the minigame down to 70 in order to speed up the fights. That means there's going to be a lot less splashes throughout the games, making your battle for the number 1 spot a little bit more action-packed. You'll actually be able to hit people as opposed to constantly hitting low or 0. On top of these changes, they've made a number of small tweaks. The number of players that are ready for the game are now shown when in the lobby. New looting locations have been added throughout the map. They've improved the matchmaking system to speed up finding games. They've addressed unfair spawn points reported by players. They've ensured that bloody keys are only awarded to a player if they're still in the game. Items now appear immediately when dropped. They've increased the game timer to 20 minutes. Fog will now deal a maximum of 10 damage. Items now dropped to the player who dealt the killing blow. They've added super energy pots to the store. They've added the ability to regain run energy when consuming bloody keys. And they've added a river crossing obstacle at the southern end of the river. So if you're interested in the Last Man Standing, make sure you give it a shot this weekend, where all these changes will be available to you. They're hoping to get Last Man Standing released next Thursday, so make sure you get your last bits of opinions and feedback to them way before then, so they've got plenty of time to sort it out for the release. And you might as well get yourself a little bit of practice, so when it does come out, you can start earning money from the minigame. Next this week, Clue Reward Caskets. Now, when you're doing clue scrolls, you're only going to get a clue casket if you're about to receive a reward. So you'll no longer get to a point where you think, is this the reward, is this a clue? You're only going to get it if it's going to be a reward. If you're going to get a clue, you'll just get the clue. If you're a player that has kept on to some caskets before this update, then they won't be exhibiting this behaviour. If you open them, you might get the reward, because obviously before you would have got the reward, or you're going to get a clue. Finally, in other news, World 321 has been reverted to a standard old school world, which I believe that means that the free-to-play beta is no longer open for the Last Man Standing. Brine Sabers can now kill rock slugs without the use of additional bags of salt. You can now complete tasks in achievement diaries without having first started the diary, which will probably mean I'll end up getting a lot more achievements than I did before. Higher tier bones now have a higher prayer restoration rate in the catacombs of Kurend. The giant mole will now broadcast its loot from its drops. Metal dragons within the Brimhaven dungeon now drop noted metal bars for players who have completed the Elite Karamja diary. This can be activated or deactivated by speaking to Tsar Mej in the Tsar city. Water sources have now been placed within the Gnome stronghold. Slayer Masters now offer the ability to unlock red dragons as a Slayer task at the cost of 50 Slayer points. A woodcutting guild teleport has been added to the skill necklace, and the drop rate of elite clues from Skotitso has been buffed to 1 in 5. Lava dragon bones buried in the Lava Dragon Isle are correctly affected by the use of the Bone Crusher and the Brutal Spirit bonus. Fallow the Bard now accepts an uncharged Infernal Axe as well as a charged one. The hard clue on top of the Agility Pyramid now confirms the version required is the Blue Mystic top. James now informs players about being able to redeem bonds for a name change. The Barrow stash unit has been moved to the corner of the central chamber. The achievement diary list is now ordered alphabetically. A stash unit found in Nightmare Zone has been removed. Players can now complete the Elite Desert task without any kind of feather. And Straven will no longer talk about Hero's Quest before it's been started. So in a way, this week has been quite a small update. However, it's very interesting because number one, we've got a beta for a nice game that's coming out soon, and we've also got that controversial Dragon Spear change. Like I said before, I think the Dragon Spear change is good and hopefully won't mess up PKing and stuff too much. The latest Last Man Standing beta should be really good, and all these other quality of life updates we've got from the most recent poll are great. Obviously, whenever we get these small updates and quality of life updates from polls, it just feels really wonderful. If you want to watch my video on the poll that a lot of these updates came from, please click here for skilling pets and quality of life. And if you want to watch my video on the latest Old School RuneScape priority poll, please click here for my video on the 5th priority poll. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and share, and if you want to keep up to date with the Old School RuneScape updates, death blocks and polls, please subscribe. I've been Lewis, thanks for watching, goodbye.